Hello and welcome to the commentary predictions for the Premier League week number 8. I'm Russ. As always, I'm going to be here with a guest predicting the week's scores on the Premier League. I've got my guest waiting in the background. You'll see who that is in a moment. Some of you from YouTube, if you watch this channel, you'll know, and you watch him, you'll know who he is. But before we get our special guest on to predict this week's scores in the Premier League's action, I'm just going to go through our me and Rich story. The Newcastle fan we had on for the international break got on the internet on the prediction front. So we both got 4 points each, as you can see there. We all got 1 point. I got 1 point for the Chelsea, Southampton, Leeds, Watford, Wolves, Newcastle, and Brighton, Arsenal result last week. Rich also got 1 point for the Chelsea game, Leeds game, Brighton game, and he also got a point for the Crystal Palace game as well. Now to welcome on my guest this week is none other than Joe Wainman from the Just Joe Football Show. Joe, how you doing, my friend? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastically well, Russ. Thank you very much for inviting me on, mate. I hope you're doing well as well.
Yeah, all good here, my friend. So we're just going to go through the matches in the order that they are being played, Joe, for this weekend's games, and then we'll have a chat afterwards. I've already explained to you the point system before we started as well, my friend. So let's start off with the lunchtime game tomorrow, Joe. Watford against Liverpool. Watford, very, very poor last time out against Leeds, as we both know from watching that game, my friend. I just see Watford doing against Liverpool. Obviously, new manager in now, Cisco Munoz sacked. Claudio Ranieri back in the Premier League. How well do you think he'll do this time around in the Premier League?
I think he'll do whether or not he'll if they have enough to stay up. I do think they have a nucleus of a good squad, and maybe do have enough to stay up. But when we seen them, against Leeds United, they were really, really bad, and you can sort of understand why Cisco was sacked, because they didn't really lay a glove on us. But I do rate Ranieri. I do think it's too quick of a turnaround for him to get a result in this one, though. Liverpool are absolutely flying. I do think they'll win the game, Liverpool. It won't be like a cricket score that maybe we might have expected if Cisco was still in charge. So I think Liverpool win this one 2-0, Russ.
I think it'll be 3-0 Liverpool. I think Liverpool just got a bit extra quality, as you mentioned, from what we've seen last week and from what I've seen of Watford this season. So I think it'll be a comfortable Liverpool win. Next up, the Midlands derby, Aston Villa against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Wolves, bit of inconsistency. Villa doing fairly well so far this season. Joe, which side of the Midlands do you reckon is going to come out on top in this one, mate?
I do think it'll be Villa, mate. I do think it'll be Villa. Although I have, like you say, I know Wolves have been quite inconsistent, but I do expect them to start kicking on. I know we've got them in 2 weeks' time. I think it'll be a very, very difficult game. Jimenez, Trincao, Traore, the new signing Hwang Hee-chan looks good as well. But I do think Villa will win this one. I'm going 2-1 Aston Villa, mate.
Pretty much think alike, Joe. I'm also going for 2-1 to Villa in this one. I think Villa will just edge it in the end. Like I said, they've got some good players, Wolves, but I just think Villa have just got that little bit more quality in the side at the moment. Next up is the Leicester City against them from the other side of the pennines, which we don't like. But Manchester United, it'll be a very good game, this one, I think. And Man United without two key defenders in Rafael Varane and Harry Maguire for this game, it looks like. So do you think Manchester United can get something in this one, Joe? Do you think Leicester will be too strong, especially with the home crowd behind them?
Yeah, look, Man United are just, you don't know what Man United will turn up, and Leicester haven't had a great start to the season. However, Jamie Vardy's the top scorer in the league, and the fact that Varane's out, Maguire's out, he'll have joy against Bailly and Lindelof for me. I know it might sound mad, but I'm going to go for Leicester 3-1, mate. I think they win this game.
I think Leicester's going to win this as well, Joe. But I don't think Man United will score. I think they'll keep a clean sheet. I think, especially, I know Ronaldo's getting on a bit, but he's still producing some good quality. Bruno Fernandes as well. But I think the Leicester defence can be able to keep it tight. And be able to marshal those two quite well, and I think Leicester will come out on top. Next one is Man City versus Burnley, and just to point out as well, Joe, one of the team here in the commentary hub in one of the channels you're going out on, JDB Sports, which is one of the partner channels here, the owner of that one, John Stuttard, JB, he is a big Burnley fan, so be careful of what you say. I say this to all my guests that I get on when I come to the Burnley games, but Man City, I can't see any other than a Man City win in this one for me. Joe, do you feel the same way as well, that Man City will be too strong for Burnley in the end?
Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Burnley, but they're too strong for the majority of teams in this division, aren't they? Let's be honest. So, Burnley have not had a great start to the season. Gave Norwich their first point. I just think Man City will have far too much. And I'm going to go as far as to say it could be 5. I know it was 5 last season, wasn't it? I think Bailey Peacock-Farrell played his debut, I think, maybe, and conceded
Yeah, I think he
goals.
did, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5. 5 City. Sorry, JB, but I think City will have too much.
Yeah, I think City will have too much as well. I'm going for a 4-0 Man City win in this one, Joe. Next up is Norwich City against Brighton. Brighton going fairly well near the top, with Norwich picking up that solitary point last time out in their game against Burnley last time out. But I think Brighton will be too strong for the Canaries in this one, and I'm going for a 2-0 Brighton win. How do you see this game going, Joe?
Yeah, Brighton are very good, you know, and I do really like Graham Potter. Really, really like him. They're still not scoring loads of goals, but I think if they were to have a better striker, they would. You know, I'm not saying Neil Maupay is bad, etc., but I just think if they had that next level up, they would score a lot because they do create a lot. I do think they'll beat Norwich. I'm going to go for 1-0 Brighton, mate. I do expect it to be tight, but I will go for 1-0 Brighton.
Yeah, next up, Joe, is the game on the South Coast, Southampton against our team, Leeds United. And I know every week, yourself, like me, always backs our team to win whichever team we come up against, whether it's Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, whichever team we come up against. Obviously, I know you're going to go for a Leeds win in this one. Joe, how do you see this one going? Do you think it'll be a tight game, or do you reckon Leeds can just run away with it with the fast pace of likes of Dan James, Rafinha if he plays, Harrison, players like that?
Yeah, I don't know. There is the opportunity for us to click into gear and start scoring goals, but we've not quite done it yet. I'm not overly concerned about Southampton. I think they've scored 5 goals in 2021. They've only scored, I think they haven't scored from open play since August the 28th. So they're struggling. And of course, they're without James Ward-Prowse. They're without Shea Adams. This is the first time in 2 years James Ward-Prowse has missed a game for Southampton. So it's going to be a big miss. And, you know, Leeds United might not have Rafinha, but I still think we'll have enough to beat Southampton. I do expect it to not so much tight. I think we will create a lot like we did against Watford. I know that only finished 1-0, and from the outside it might have looked tight, but me and you both know we absolutely battered Watford. So I think it could be similar in that respect, but I do think I'm going to go 1-0 Leeds. I think it will be tight.
I'm going for a 2-0 Leeds. I think we'll get an early goal. Southampton will have to come out, and then we'll nick another one on the break in the second half. And I think we'll keep it tight and be interested to see what side Bielsa puts out, which we'll have a little bit of a chat about that at the end. Next up is Brentford against Chelsea on Saturday evening in the 5:30 kickoff. In another London derby, in Brentford, the term whether it's been at Griffin Park or the Brentford Community Stadium have always proved to be a tough ask to play against a term with, like we found out past few seasons when we were in the Championship. And so I think it'd be a tough ask for Chelsea, but I think Chelsea have got enough here to go on to win it. Joe, do you have the same mindset in what squad are you going for in this one, mate?
I do have the same mindset as you, Russ. I do think it will be a tough game for Chelsea, but they will have too much for Brentford. Like you said, I think, you know, Brentford are really good at home. They're a really good side. It pains me to say it, but Thomas Frank's a great coach. He's proven that. But I do think Chelsea will have too much. I think I'm going to go for 2-0 Chelsea. But it won't surprise me if Brentford got a draw. But I am going to go for 2-0 Chelsea.
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea. I think Brentford will score first, but then Chelsea will come out at them and get the win. Next up is Everton against West Ham. Two teams, from what I've seen already this season, I think will be up there or thereabouts in about the top six, especially West Ham where they played, and Everton on the counter if they can keep Calvert-Lewin fit and Richarlison fit. Everton, I can see them being up there. And do you think with this one, do you think it'll be a tie game, Joe? Obviously, David Moyes against Rafa Benitez. We know what kind of managers they have been in the past in the Premier League. Do you think it'll be a tie game, this one? I know, do you reckon it'll come out on top?
Yeah, I do. I do think it will be tight, mate. And I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a good game of football with two great coaches, two great managers, But I do think, and I agree with you, Russ, I think having seen both of these sides, got a point against Everton, lost last minute to West Ham, but them two sides for me will be fighting for them European spots. But I'm gonna go with Everton in this one, mate, and I'm gonna think Rafa gets the win. I'm gonna go 2-1 to Everton.
I've gone for a West Ham win in this one, and I think there'll be 5 goals in it as well. I'm going for a 3-2 West Ham win. I think West Ham just shown they can score goals. Look at them against Man United in the league. They were very unlucky there, but they won them in the Carabao Cup, and they've performed well in the league. And I know it's fresh after an international break. They'll have some players fresh. I know Declan Rice played for England in midweek, but I think he'll have the ability to help the West Ham side go on to get the win. Next up is Newcastle United against Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday in the 4:30 kick-off. And it's the first game for Newcastle under the new owners, who confirmed earlier, Joe, that Steve Bruce is going to remain in charge. Obviously, a lot of Newcastle fans, especially Richard I spoke to last week, well before the international break on here, wanted him out and still want him gone and still think he'll go. Do you think Newcastle will get the win against Tottenham, or do you think Tottenham under Nuno can get the win here? I know there's been a bit of pressure recently on Nuno because Tottenham's not been performing well. Do you reckon it'll be a battle of two sides who are not performing well and a draw, or do you reckon someone's going to come out on top?
Do you know what? This is going to be my little bit of a wild card pick. I'm going to have Newcastle. I know they've still got Steve Bruce in charge, but I think the place is going to be bouncing because of the new owners. The players as well, it could lift the players, and things aren't great at Tottenham. Harry Kane's not doing well. Of course, Son's quality and continues to pull up trumps or come up trumps for Spurs, but this is going to be my wild card pick, and I'm going to go for 2-1 to Newcastle.
I've gone for the other way. I've gone for 2-1 to Spurs. I think Spurs will just edge it, and then the pressure will pile on Bruce even more, and they'll be wanting him out fairly quickly after that one. I've seen a lot of people today before we went to know that people are saying he's only staying in charge of this one so he can take charge of his 1,000th game. So I think a lot of people probably think as soon as that's done, he'll be out, but I think they're waiting to find a right experienced interim head coach first before getting rid of him. The next up is the final game of the Premier League weekend, which is Arsenal at home to Crystal Palace. And how do you see this one going, Joe? Do you reckon it'll be a win for Arsenal, or do you reckon Crystal Palace will surprise Arsenal here and get the win? Because they were very unlucky against Leicester last time out not to go on to get the win after fighting back quite well in that one. Do you see Palace doing something similar here and potentially getting a draw?
They could do, mate, but I think Arsenal will win this one for me. I'd like Crystal Palace to get a result. I think, Patrick Vieira's doing a good job there, and I said he'd be the first manager sacked, so there you go. But I'm going to go for 2-0 Arsenal, mate. No, 1-0. Actually, scrap that. I'm going to go 1-0 to Arsenal.
1-0 to Arsenal for Joe, he says so there. So we'll get those. I've gone for a 2-1 win for Arsenal. I think Arsenal will go on to get the win. I think Arsenal will be too strong in the end. We will get the win in this one. So that's. But before we do go, I'm going to just ask you now, Joe. Obviously, we both saw some of the international break, and obviously, I know you, from what I saw on your channel yesterday, you didn't see the second game, but what I can tell you is that England definitely missed Calvin Phillips in that second game, yet on in midweek. How what did you make of the international break, Joe? Do you think from what that England need to play with a double pivot each time? Because with the second game, Hungary were cutting through us quite quickly in the way, leaving the Mount, Grealish, Fulham were getting too far in front of Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Rice were trying to do two jobs, isn't what Calvin Phillips normally does.
Yeah. Well, Corey who watches, he's a West Ham fan, and hopefully he'll be on your show soon enough. He says like Declan can't play as a single pivot like Calvin can, and he needs that extra protection. He's got that at West Ham with Soucek. So in order for Declan Rice to flourish, he needs to have Calvin alongside him. We've seen the relationship that them two have struck up both on and off the pitch. And having them two sitting gives the forward players, the freedom. And I know a lot of England fans say, it should be 4-3, it should be all-out attack. But you need to have control. You need to have control of the game in order to use that attacking flair. Okay, it can be a bit laboured, it can be a bit slow at times. But, I can't really have a bad word said about Gareth Southgate because, yes, the football's turgid. Yes, it's difficult to watch. But he's got us to 2 semi-finals and a final. I think it's exceptional what he's done. Okay, we have some generational talents, and maybe if a Graham Potter went in, for example, or someone of that ilk, we could be better in these teams. But I think I've seen a great comment, and someone said, if anyone questions England playing with a double pivot again, they should be made to watch that Hungary game on repeat because it was tough, right? It was a tough watch. So I think the double pivot obviously works for England, and and I think a lot of people realise the importance of Calvin Phillips in that side, Russ. He's huge in that side.
He is, yes, and obviously, Joe, like myself, you're a Leeds fan. What have you made to the start for Leeds this season under Bielsa? And obviously, Robin Koch, we know that he's out having a surgery on his groin area in USA. So I think he'd probably be a big miss. But we've also, like I said, we've got we've got Llorente, Cooper, Creswell, Struijk back now. So we've got 4 good centre backs there who can step in. What do you make to the start of the season for Leeds? And also, what have you made of Charlie Creswell in his 2 games this season that he's played for the first team?
So I mean, the season's not been the best. We could have asked for a better start, Russ. I mean, we all would have liked that. I mean, I don't know how I'd have coped during the international break had we have not beaten Watford. It'd have been 2 weeks of hell, wouldn't it, mate? So it was good to get that win on the board, and I now look at the next 4 fixtures, Russ, and I think they're favourable. Wolves and Leicester will be tough, and Southampton won't be easy. Norwich is Norwich. I keep saying that, but I have this horrible feeling that they'll beat us just because it's Leeds. But, the next 4, they're very winnable. If we were to get, 9 points, 7 points, it's a good return, and we'll start to soon climb up that table, I think a lot of Leeds fans were getting carried away talking about relegation and stuff. There was no need for that. I was never concerned about that. Not the best start, but listen, it's a 38-game season, and I think a lot of people are comparing it with last season. And we can't expect them levels week in, week out. It's very tough, the Premier League, and in order for us to progress, we need to improve the squad, and we haven't done a lot of that. Have we, Russ? You know that yourself.
Yeah.
So we'll be all right this season. That's totally fine. And as for Charlie Creswell, mate, wow, what a player. I think he'll play for England for sure. I think he's that good. He's got like the old school like, I hate to make this comparison because I don't really like him, but like your John Terry. But then he's also got the footballing ability as well. Do you know what I mean? To coincide with that, he's like a throwback, but also very modern as well. He's a great centre back, and the way he played against Antonio, I thought it was exceptional, Russ.
Yeah, it were very, very good there as well. And just before we go, Joe, just one quick one. Obviously, I know you've got your own channel and as well. Just want to tell the listeners of the commentary of JB Sports, JDB Football, Storm FM, where they can find you and what you've got coming up on your channel in this next week or so, Joe, please.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's the Just Joe Football Show. It is heavily Leeds based. However, we do have a Premier League preview and review show. We have a preview show that goes out on a Thursday, a review show that goes out on a Monday, both at 8 o'clock. I've got a new midweek segment coming with myself and a female Leeds fan. That's going to become a regular thing. So that's on a Wednesday. Monday and Thursday we have that. And of course I have previews of the games, reviews of the games, any news. I reacted to the news about Rafinha possibly going to Liverpool earlier on, so that's out there. And I also do watch along. So when I'm not at Ellen Road, like this weekend, Leeds play Southampton, so I'll be at home because I'm not going to the away game. I have a family, so I have to split up my time. So I'll be doing a watch along for that game. So make sure you join me if you are stuck for something to do. And thank you so much for having me on, Russ.
Yes, and just one quick one you touched there on Rafinha.
Yeah.
Brazilian debut in this past international break. 2 appearances from the bench. A start today. And 2 assists in that time and 2 goals as well. What a second goal today in early hours of this morning. And what a talent Rafinha is, Joe.
Oh, mate, he's amazing. He's amazing. And it's so funny seeing like Brazilian fans saying, Qatar World Cup, you better watch out, and showing pictures of Neymar alongside Rafinha, and his stock just continues to rise. He's an exceptional footballer, one of the best players, man. We've had in a very, very, very long time. Just an exceptional talent, and I'm just gonna bask in his brilliance while he's here, mate, because there's going to come a time when he moves on to a Champions League club, Russ. So I'm enjoying it while he's here.
Yes, and just before we do go, I'm just going to let people just have another look at what we look at our predictions up on the screen just there. So, and sorry, JB, for mine and Joe's predictions for the Man City versus Burnley game, but hope you've got no hard feelings against either of us. Coming up on the commentary later tonight, join myself again back as we bring you alternative audio commentary as West Brom and Birmingham City face off in the Championship tonight. That's with Ryan Francis. Make sure you stay tuned to where you are right now. We're back, and I'll be back live from around about 7:45 this evening with the build-up before I hand over to Ryan for the full match coverage of that one on this evening, and hopefully we'll get some Premier League alternative commentaries out over the weekend as well. And if we're not doing any on Saturday, which at the moment I don't think we are, and we're not doing one at 3 o'clock, because we always record them ones and put them out a bit later due to the blackout that we've got in the UK. But if you want to, so Saturday at 3 o'clock, which is tomorrow, guys, if you're watching this later today, head over to the Just Joe Football Show to go and give him some support on his Leeds United away to Southampton watch on. But from myself and from joining the team here in the commentary of JB Sports, JDB Football and Storm FM, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.